still does because of the kind of stories it told that people could relate to even now. Moral questions, ethical dilemmas, social issues.
Oh, yeah.
So when I decided to make Star Trek Continues, I wanted not to be like, oh, let's make a fan thing where we can run around in uniforms and pretend we're playing Star Trek. No. I wanted to tell stories that had a point and a message like the original series did. And so that was my goal from the very, very beginning. We were very selective about the stories we told and the scripts that we wrote and produced. I'm extremely proud. I don't know what episodes you got to see, Gary, but I would like to ask you as a personal favor, watch the whole series.
Oh, I plan to.
Because I can promise you, no matter how busy you are, I can promise you that every episode is better than the last. And they just get better and better and better. And by the end, you will feel such a sense of closure that the original series never got. That sense of ending this iconic television show and returning all of these characters and leaving them right where they were when we saw them again in Star Trek the Motion Picture. I'm so proud of what we've done.
I'll be honest with you. They made 2 Star Trek movies recently in the last couple of years with the Captain Kirk. I'm not downgrading the actor. He just didn't fit the part of young Kirk. You would have, honestly, you would have been the perfect person for that movie. I think it would have, especially the last one. Because
wouldn't that have been nice?
It would have been, because you fit the part. Now, R.W. Wells out there has just messaged me. He wants to know, can Vic do a Bill Shatner type of voice for us?
I can try to do that, but I'm not very good at it.
That's still not bad.
Perhaps if you gave me an opportunity, if you would try yourself, and I can imitate you, perhaps. But apart from that, I don't know what to say.
Oh, wow.
But see, that's just for fun. But that's just for fun. I didn't do that on the show. In fact, I used to tell my AD, if you see me doing too much of that, let me know and we'll take the shot again, because I didn't want, people to feel like it was some kind of satire, especially Bill Shatner. I had the privilege to become friends with Bill several years ago, and we've done a lot of event appearances together, and I had the privilege to tell him to put my arm around his shoulder at dinner one night and tell him that he was the father figure I never had, and that I made this show as a tribute to him and the others, and how much he meant to me. And he threw his arm back around my shoulder and said, "That's extraordinary, Vic. That's extraordinary."
Hey Vic, do me a favor. This is Mark. I want you to tell Gary a story, because Vic, when Vic did the audiobook for my first book, These Are the Voyages, season 1, he did the audiobook, and you had a very interesting moment with Bill about that. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. He and I were both signing guests, autographing guests at Florida SuperCon last June or July. And I was right in the middle of the book, and I was so struck, Gary, as I was reading the book, I was so struck by how everybody had such enormous admiration for Shatner. Everybody. I mean, the guest directors, the guest starring actors, the writers, the camera team, the stunt people, everybody. Shatner was the man, and everybody would talk about almost every chapter. People would talk about how Shatner was so funny and affable, and he would cut up on set and joke with everyone, and then the cameras would roll, and he was right there as Captain Kirk. And he would do kind things for people, and he was such a preeminent actor of his day that he challenged everyone else, you know what I mean? That they rose to his level. And I was so struck by that. Because people tease, nowadays, people joke about, the Shatner overacting and stuff. And I thought to myself, he was really highly respected and admired.
Yeah.
And so
and not only
here
that,
I am.
that Gary and I were talking earlier before you came on about that. Gary was asking me about if there was really problems on the show because of the things George Takei has said over the years, and that's why I thought of this story that you're telling now.
Yeah.
So this is
it's Florida SuperCon.
That, of course, gets back to Bill. So now you come in.
Yeah. So at Florida SuperCon, Bill and I were sitting in the green room, which is kind of a private area for the guests to go and have lunch or chill out or whatever. And he and I were sitting there, and I kind of slid my chair over close to him, and I leaned in and I said, I have something to tell you that I think will really encourage you. And in classic Bill Shatner wit, he said, do I look like I need encouragement, Vic? and I laughed, and I said, no, but I think you'll enjoy this. And he said, I was just kidding, go on. And I told him, I said, Bill, I'm reading this book. I'm recording this audio book, and I want you to know that in every single chapter, everyone talks about how wonderful you were. Your talent, your sense of humor, your energy, and that you just really led the way, and how much they appreciated and admired you. And he leaned into me and looked at me right in the eyes, and he got very serious, and he said, thank you for telling me that, Vic. That really does encourage me. He said over the years, a lot of people have rewritten history and told a lot of their own spin on the stories. But that really does encourage me, Vic. Thank you for sharing. And, it was just a wonderful moment that I had the chance to let him know how people really felt about him back when they made that show.
Well, there on the internet, on YouTube, there's some circulation. One of the prop masters or somebody that used to work Key Grips or whatever used to take a 8mm camera on the set, and he would
right.
And he would film stuff, and I saw some of it here the other day because I knew you were coming on, and I just wanted to do some more research. And in Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and all of them, they did some clowning around right in between, the sets. It's funny to watch it.
Oh, sure. And when you read Marc's books, or better yet, buy the audio book and listen to it, what you're going to find is that they were like a big family. They knew that what they were doing was new. If you think about it, Gary, 95% of the TV shows in that period were cop shows. They were police shows or Westerns. That pretty much sums up everything. And so Star Trek was so revolutionary. It was so out of the box. And these actors, a lot of them who were new, fresh, young actors, with a few veterans, like Jimmy Doohan and Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and Dee Kelly. But they all seemed to know that what they were doing, this show they were doing, was really different. There was nothing else like it on television. And I think that gave them a real unspoken bond, if you will.
Well, I think so.
And you know what, Gary, before I forget, let me say something before I forget. I hate for us to run out of time.
We still got.
If you have any listeners, if you have any listeners out there who are saying to themselves, wow, what would it be like to walk through the original Enterprise? Like, what would it be like to be on set and go through the original soundstage? Well, you can have that opportunity because May 24 to 26, we're having an open house at our filming studio. We have this beautiful studio in South Georgia, just about 25 minutes from Jacksonville, Florida International Airport. It's super easy to get there. It's in this great little town called Kingsland, Georgia, and it's where we all went and shot our entire series of Star Trek Continues. And I got to tell you, we did one last year, and we had over 1,000 people show up. It is the most euphoric, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you can imagine to actually walk through the original soundstage. I mean, a perfect replica of the original shooting stage, and feel like you're on the Enterprise. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So if there, and by the way, it's free. We've never charged a penny for anything related to Star Trek Continues. We've never sold anything. We've never ventured to make any profit from it. It was all a labor of love. And we're opening the doors for people to come and enjoy it. I'll be there. Other cast members will be there. Production team people will be there. Chris Doohan will be there. And it's all free. So if any of your listeners are interested in seeing the studio where we shot and walk through, take pictures of yourself in the captain's chair, on the bridge, in the transporter room, in sick bay, wherever, you can go to, I think it's Neutral Zone Studios. Look it up online and find out all the details. And it would be, and one of my favorite things on the planet is to share that studio and give tours to people and explain how we made the things we made, and where we found this and where we got that. And so you guys want to make sure and put that invitation out there.
Well, what I need you to do is have your agent get a hold of me tomorrow with a link. I'm going to put it up on our website for, my listeners can, get it, and I will push that. I will tell you this, from watching your episodes, at least the two I watched today, the Turnabout Intruder and To Boldly Go, I tell you what, I mean, I felt like I was on the Star, the Enterprise. And you guys had to put a lot of love and labor to make a replica that good. Now, I got to ask you a question. Mark said he has some ideas of some lost episodes that you could do. Would you ever consider doing a few more? I mean, you can't just leave us hanging.
Tell him the ideas.
We would have if we could.
We were talking about the fact that there's 11 of these that you've done, and right now you're not doing any. You've completed the journey of getting us up to the doorstep of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and I told Gary that I'm hoping one day you're going to bring out a couple lost episodes.
Well, Gary, let me tell you this. It was always my intention. My desire was always to finish the original series. My goal, my desire was always to finish the 5-year mission of the Enterprise. At the beginning of every show, what would Captain Kirk say? These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. It's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Well, they were canceled in their 3rd television season in 1969, and the next time you saw those people, it was 1979. And by then, Kirk had become an admiral in Starfleet, and Spock had gone back to Vulcan. Dr. McCoy had quit the service altogether. And my ideal with Star Trek Continues was not, let's just make some episodes until we get tired of making episodes. Let's make maybe 13, maybe 15, if we're lucky, and let's do what has never been done. Let's finish the 5-year mission and return the Enterprise to Earth and fill that gap between the cancellation of the original series and the motion picture. And we were on track to do that. And we had a few other ideas in the pipeline of episodes we were going to do. But I don't want to get into the details, but suffice it to say that around our 6th or 7th episode, some things took place in the fan film Star Trek fan film community that ended with CBS